Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and Resident Evil 9 is on the horizon. It's coming out soon, whether you like it or not. But the big question is, when are we going to hear about Resident Evil 9? When is it going to release? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about that, and we're going to try and understand where it is, why we haven't heard of it yet, and when it's going to come out. To get into that, let's take a look at the past couple of Resident Evils, the main ones that we've seen over the past decade. Resident Evil Revelations 2 came out roughly 10 years ago. And looking at it, you can already see at this point Revelations 2 took a big turn in how Resident Evil was presented, and this meant many different things for it. But if we look at the release for it, it came out in the first half of the year. Yes, I know it was episodic, but that doesn't really mean too much, especially when we look at the other ones. So keep in mind, first half of the year. The next big one was Resident Evil 7, and this changed everything for Resident Evil. This came out in the first half of the year. Next up, Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8, as some people still call it. I like to call it 8, but I suppose it's still Village. It says 8 there. I don't know. First half of the year. Resident Evil 4, first half of the year. Now, the pattern that we see here is that Resident Evil tends to come out in the first half of the year. Obviously, because I've just said it multiple times. It does not tend to try and compete with the holiday season games, i.e. things that come out in September to December. Well, November, really. But that doesn't mean to say that it hasn't in the past, because it has. Recently, Capcom knows that trying to compete with those isn't what people are going to want. First half of the year is a perfect spot to release the game. But where does that leave Resident Evil 9? Because it's running a little bit late. For example, we tend to see these games being shown for the first time in kind of June, July, maybe even August time. But we've passed that point right now. What's happening? Well, it's going to be a case of Resident Evil 9 is shown and released. Not as quickly as what you think, but the marketing budget right now at Capcom has been spent up for Monster Hunter Wilds. But that's okay. They still have some left for Resident Evil. Chances are we will see Resident Evil 9 in 2024. Before this year is out, we are guaranteed to see it. There's no doubt about it, we will see it. But when will it release? I think you can expect to see it in May or June of 2025. Why? Because the fiscal year starts in April, okay? So their new budget is set from April. That means that in April, you are going to see a massive push for Resident Evil 9. But by that point, we'll have seen it before. Probably next month, probably the month after, who knows? But what that means is that sometime in 2024, before now, and the 31st of December 2024, we will see some kind of teaser for Resident Evil 9. We may not know its full title, but it will be referred to as Resident Evil 9. We'll see glimpses, we'll see probably a 60-second trailer, and it'll probably give us the release date straight up then and there. We'll probably see another little teaser in January 2025, but then as soon as April hits, we're going to get smashed with trailer after trailer, gameplay, cinematics. We are going to see a lot about Resident Evil 9 because they want that big release in May or early June 2025. Now, it only makes sense for that to happen because later on in 2025, we've got some big-time releases. Obviously, the biggest one is going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. And there's no point Capcom trying to compete with everyone that's going to play Grand Theft Auto 6. In fact, any game that releases in holiday season 2025 is going to struggle against Grand Theft Auto 6. Whether you think that's going to be a success or not, it is going to be a fact because the whole world is going to want to play it. It's like if Half-Life 3 ever gets announced, the internet is going to break, just like it did with Grand Theft Auto 6. So Resident Evil 9 being released in the summer or late spring is the perfect time for release for Resident Evil. And if it goes by any of these, then yeah, it likely is going to be that time of year. Some would say Capcom are leaving it a little bit late, but no, I don't think so. I think Capcom are under the impression that no matter what they do with Resident Evil 9, it's going to sell. So they're taking their time at this point. They're making sure that the game is perfect. It comes out perfect on release. Yeah, we'll probably have a patch or two, but that doesn't matter to me. That's fine. The marketing is all set for April. That's when the big push is going to happen. And I guarantee, by all means, come back to this video and tell me I'm wrong. I'll hold my hands up and say I'm wrong. And my source for all this is, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.